And get comfortable if you wish. First of all, how was everybody's dinner tonight?
Good. Good.
Good, good, good. Nobody's out of control with too many drinks?
Not yet.
Fantastic. I will start by introducing myself. My name is John Dufner. I actually live about an hour north, Buxton. I know you know where Buxton is. How many of you, out of curiosity, are glad you're not from Buxton? Most of you?
Because Dad was a teacher at Central Valley up there. I lived in a lot of students.
Well, I didn't go to school in Central Valley, so I would have not been a problem for you. Close it. Anyways, we're going to go through some information tonight. The purpose of tonight is twofold. Number one, hopefully you'll find it valuable. We're going to talk a lot about health, wellness, prevention. Hopefully you can use some of the things we talk about here tonight to potentially improve your health, or maybe somebody that you know and care about. Goal number two of this evening is we'd like to make sure everybody had fun. It's very important, especially the person invited here tonight, that when you leave, you feel like this is time well spent. So feel free to, since there's just a few of us here tonight, we're going to keep it really low key. Feel free if you want to make a comment, as long as your comments are positive, that is. Ask a question, it'll be totally fine. But let's keep it really low key. And if you're on schedule, we'll have you out of here long before the invitation says. But hopefully at the end of the night, you'll be glad you sat through our little seminar. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about wellness, prevention rather than cure. I think that it's pretty common that a lot of times people wait till they get sick and then wonder what we need to do to fix it. Tonight, we're going to talk to you from more of a proactive standpoint, maybe preventing a few diseases you can actually avoid. We're going to mainly focus on physical wellness issues. We're also going to spend just a couple minutes at the end on a topic called financial wellness, because I think today, probably more than ever before, it's pretty important. Just out of curiosity, how many of you here tonight happen to know somebody that's stressed out all the time? You got twins, right?
Let's say no more.
So many of you think, how many of you think if you have a lot of stress, you age a little faster than the average person? Probably. If you ever wonder what stress does to the aging process, take a picture of the president before they go into office and then compare it 4 years, 8 years. I mean, if you remember a couple presidents back, Obama looked like he was 12 when he went in. And how old did he look when he came out? 50? That's what a high stressful environment will do to the aging process. In fact, if you've ever had a period in your life where you've had a lot of stress, it can actually cause you to physically get sick. I had a friend of mine who had his own business before COVID. He had about 3 bad years in a row, suffered through COVID, then he ended up going bankrupt. During that same period in his life, he also had a heart attack. How many of you think the bankruptcy and the heart attack could be connected? Probably. How many of you think we have, for a lot of people these days, more financial stress or uncertainty in today's world than we had 15 years ago? I think we do. Just turn on the news, right? Exactly. So I think it's important to stay financially well because it gives you choices. You know, if you look at part of what you might call healthcare, if you want to call it that, I think I pay more in health insurance premiums in a month than my mom and dad used to live off of in a month. One generation ago, which in my mind, it seems kind of crazy. And it's something that you hopefully never have to use. Now, I didn't come to Fargo to complain, but I'm just trying to get you to think about, have you ever heard that it costs money to stay well? It does, doesn't it? Stay healthy. So we're going to talk about maybe some financial resource at the end that will help your physical well-being. So let's look at how do you get sick? What are the things in your life that accelerate your aging process? We're going to put a bunch of things up on the screen, and as we go through them, keep track of how many of these things you have in your life. Okay? Now remember, tonight's supposed to be all about fun. I don't want you getting stressed out. But a couple of you in the room, after you see them all, you might consider yourself fairly close to death. Physical stress, things like gravity. You're probably aware that when you get older, you get shorter, right? Can't do a lot about that. Here's the type of stress that I think we have way more of today than ever before. Emotional stress. You know, it wasn't that long ago. Nobody was connected to the internet. But since then, everybody's got a cell phone, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the things, right? You think we have more or less stress? Probably more. Some days I think it would be better to know not what's going on. And we're not going to spend a lot of time with these two tonight. The one we're going to spend a little bit of time on is chemical stress. I believe that we have entirely too many toxic chemicals in our environment. Today we got a chemical for everything. My background is farming. One of the things I used to raise a lot of was red potatoes. before those potatoes actually got to the grocery store shelf, somewhere between 9 and 11 different chemicals went on those potatoes. Pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, insecticides. In fact, it's a little embarrassing to admit today, but I wouldn't eat what I used to sell you. Now, you might think on your way home, what a jerk. But you know what? We can control the size of the potato, the color of the potato, the thickness of the skin, keep it from sprouting, make it look pretty in the grocery store so you all would buy it. Doesn't mean it was necessarily that good for you. So let's take one of the chemicals, potato fungicides. When you got some free time, do a little homework on potato fungicides. You have to be bored, but humor yourself. 94% of the fungicides used in the potato industry today are in a class of chemicals called carcinogens. What does that mean? Causes cancer. But we put them on our food. Does that surprise anybody? No, but it should, shouldn't it? You would think, what are we doing, right? So here's why I tell you that little story. This isn't actually going to be a potato seminar here tonight, but I tell you that because if you only knew, you might make different choices. Problem is, how do you know? Once you have nothing to do with your time. So here's a brochure that I run across, kind of what I'm talking about. Is your home a healthy home? How common household chemicals may gradually be making you and your family sick. Inside this brochure, it talks about the connection between our increased use of household chemicals and the increased incidence of chronic illness like cancer, asthma, ADD, nervous disorders, birth defects, many other problems. If you were to look back at statistics, say 25 years ago, how many children had a need for things like inhalers 25 years ago? Not that many. Today, we don't even know. But diagnosed rate of skin allergies and asthma is about 1 in 13. Which direction is it going? Up or down, do you think? Up. You might even say way up. 25 years ago, we could have peanut butter in high school. Can't do that. How many of you think you know somebody's allergic to everything? Probably. I mean, have you ever wondered why? I think there's some reasons behind it. We're going to dig into maybe a few of them. Here's a newspaper clipping that I run across. Household disinfectants top poison hazard for children. Which chemical in your home is it that poisons the most children each year, if you were going to guess? That's correct. Household chlorine bleach. Now, a lot of people might say if your house smells like Lysol, Pine Sol, Clorox, it's what?
Clean.
Clean, right? I will grant you it might be disinfected, maybe not all that healthy long term. In fact, speaking of long term, here's a little study that I found on long term health hazards of household products. If you look down here in the middle, in a study conducted over a 15-year period, women who worked at home had a 54% higher death rate from cancer than women who had jobs away from the home. The study concluded that the increased death rate in the women was due to the daily exposure to the hazardous chemicals found in ordinary household products. There's a couple of things to think about as we're going through this tonight. Number one, daily exposure. A lot of these chemicals are on low levels in your home all the time. You don't really think about it. But do a little experiment. Next time you go to the grocery store or Walmart or wherever you go shopping, how many of you think you can tell where the laundry detergent aisle is before you get to it? Right? You can smell it, right? In fact, if you have an hour to kill, go to the cleaning product aisle and walk up and down the cleaning product aisle for an hour. What would happen to you?
Might get a headache.
You might not make a couple hours. And then we bring a few of those products home to our house, put some under the kitchen sink, some go in the bathroom, some go in the laundry room. Then one day we actually decide we're going to clean the shower. Who here has ever considered doing that? A couple of you. You guys participate this goes fast. Have you ever used one of those bathroom cleaners where you spray it all down and you basically have to race out before you pass out? You're in there scrubbing away, your eyes are watering, your nose is running, you're getting a headache. Stop for a second and wonder if this is good for me. And I realize someone who can hold their breath the entire time. But those fumes go somewhere, right? Here's the reality. Of chemicals commonly found in homes, 150 have been linked to allergies, birth defects, cancer, and psychological abnormalities. Those last two words up there, ADHD in kids, depression in adults, up or down in the last decade. Autism, now we got types of autism, though. We got Parkinson's, we got Alzheimer's, we got lots of things to worry about today that we never even used to consider. I realize that maybe sometimes things weren't diagnosed, but just look at autism rates in the last 15 years. Went from 1 in 100 to what's the last number you've heard?
More than 34.
Mm-hmm. More than double, almost tripled in the last 15 years. So something's definitely behind it. So here's where I'm at. I'm not going to claim tonight that I have all the answers, but I am going to show you some connections to things you might be taking for granted and your health. So here's what it comes down to. We're all going to get sick someday. You can't do a lot about that. How many of you here tonight would like to live till you're 100?
No.
No. Won't even feel like 100. You know what? The problem when you think of 100 is not quality of life, is it? Yeah. If you could walk, see, hear, remember, and think, then maybe. Okay, so you may have wondered when you got invited to come to the seminar, I wonder what the point of the seminar actually is. Well, there is actually a point. My 30-second short story, 30 years ago, I was invited to a seminar just like this in Grand Forks. I'll be the first to admit I probably really didn't think I wanted to go. I went because the meal was free and I thought I might win the door prize. At the end of the night, though, I was very glad that I sat through that information. At the time I was sitting in your chair 30 years ago, I was farming. I had converted my farm to organic farming in 1988. So if you think back to 1988, what do you think of an organic farmer back then? Crazy. Probably heard the light blue black fan with the pink flowers. Growing crops, right? Organic. Exactly. So that was 30 plus years ago. What's happened to the organic food industry in the last 5 years? It's grown a lot. It's a growth industry every year, year over year, and it has been for the last 20 years. Problem with organic, if there is a problem, one is quality control. I mean, we got to throw that in, but the big one is price. If you're going to convert your whole budget over to organic, it'd be 2, 3 times the price. So here's the point of tonight. What if there was a way that you could get some of the things that you knew were better for you, but it didn't cost you anymore? Well, then there's not a lot of resistance. So here's what we're here to do tonight. We're going to introduce you to a line of 400 plus wellness related type products, more natural, biodegradable, environmentally safe than most people are currently using in their own home. Here's going to be kind of the two things we talk about tonight. Number one, get the toxins out of your home if we can. And number two, eliminate the need potentially for a prescription drug or two. I don't know what you folks think, but I think it's possible that Americans could be over medicated a little bit. Have you ever watched a prescription drug commercial and wondered why? And now I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but the prescription drug commercials are talking about things that maybe we shouldn't be talking about when we're eating lunch. Yeah. They're getting more graphic every single day. It's bad. So here's where I'm at. I'm not against prescriptions. I'm not against doctors. If you're medical vendors, don't get mad at me yet. But my theory is, what if we never put the kid on Ritalin in the first place? Or what if we could keep your mother off of dangerous cholesterol medication so her joints can change when she's 75 years old and she feels like she's 95 years old instead of 75? And we've accomplished a lot. So that's what we're here to do tonight. I will tell you right up front, we are not here tonight in an attempt to get you to become a distributor of these 400 products, to sell these products to your neighbors or friends, to carry an inventory of them, to do a home party, to join a multi-level deal. Here's what we're after. If you see some value in what we have to offer, what we're going to ask you to do at the end of our little presentation, be our customer. Switch stores. Take money away from Walmart or wherever you're shopping if you find value. If and only if you find value. I will tell you right up front, all of our products are manufactured in the United States. Who's ever heard of that concept? It's becoming more important, isn't it?
There's some.
I never thought I'll put that on. Maybe it'll get flagged. Talk to Canada, just leave all that stuff on the side. But you're right. No tariffs on our product. Some of you might recognize the name of the company that actually manufactures the products that I promote and represent. They're actually located in Idaho Falls, Idaho. They go by the name of Melaleuca. Some of you might recognize that name. I first heard that name, I think 34 years ago. I thought it sounded like a skin disease. Okay, it's not. What Melaleuca is a 40-year-old wellness company. They're actually the largest wellness shopping club in North America. They carry an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. What are they? They're both the manufacturer and the store. So I don't know if you've ever thought about it. You probably don't waste a lot of time thinking about it. But when you buy a product off the grocery store shelf, it's touched 2 or 3 or 4 different hands before it gets there. All of it adds to the cost of the product. I mean, when you see, did you catch what it cost to advertise during the Super Bowl this year? It was a couple million for 30 seconds, depending upon which time slot, whatever. You think that makes Doritos taste better? Probably not, but it adds a lot to the cost, doesn't it? So you'll notice companies like Melaleuca that are both the manufacturer and the store during an inflationary time frame, which we seem to be in that area right now. Our product prices don't change much. So every single customer in Melaleuca goes directly to the manufacturer. Everybody pays the same price. We compete with companies that you recognize. The difference is we manufacture all our own products in the United States. So we take 63% that would have been middlemen, advertising, marketing, all that stuff. We do two things with it. We put higher quality ingredients into our products, safer ingredients, and we also revenue share with people that promote our product line. So I'll give you an idea. 29 years ago, I showed this to my mother. At that time, she had high blood pressure. How many of you know somebody with high blood pressure? Probably, right? Okay, she was taking a product, a pharmaceutical drug. The problem was controlling your blood pressure. There's no problem. The problem is when you're on blood pressure medication for an extended period of time, it can hurt your bone density, especially as you get a little bit older. So I showed her this concept. She got off her blood pressure medication by taking a product from Melaleuca called Provex CV. I don't need to remember the name, but it cost her $24 a month. She's been on Provex CV for 29 years. Last year, she's 83. Last year, she tripped on a piece of concrete. It was sticking up an inch. It's normally what happens when you're 83 and you fall down. You break something, right? She looked like my dad punched her, but she didn't break anything, which is good. I can't say that it was because she wasn't on blood pressure medication, but she's been doing some things a little bit different. She's controlling her blood pressure naturally, so she doesn't need the pharmaceutical drug. In the process, every time she buys that product from Melaleuca, I make 7%. Now, I know that you might think it's odd that I've come to Fargo to brag about making commission off my mom, but I'm okay with it. Why? Because my mom got off the pharmaceutical drug that was costing a lot more than that and helps with her bone density. So she's doing it a little bit more natural way. So that's how it works. Let's do a survey. Anybody in the room here tonight want to take a guess on what it costs in a household these days on all the consumable things that you buy? Laundry detergent, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoos, cosmetics, hair care products, cleaning products, dish soap, cough syrup, vitamins, workout products. What do you think a household would spend on consumables in a month? If you were a vet person? At least 500. You know what? That's a good average guess. Some are going to be a lot less if you're by yourself. You got big families, but you know what the average is? 250 to 800 bucks. So 500 is right in the middle. So here's the concept. Melaleuca manufactures over 400 plus products. Alternatives to things you're already buying somewhere else. Now, we're not going to go over all 400 products tonight. I know that's disappointing. Okay, hit a couple of high points. And maybe you can see a reason to switch stores. So here is one of our original 7 products from 40 years ago. How many of you ever used tea tree oil in your life? Or something with tea tree oil in? So in this little half-ounce bottle, it's many times stronger than something like aloe vera. Not sure what tea tree oil is, but tea tree oil is a natural antiseptic. It's also a natural fungicide. It kills nasty things. It's good for cuts, scrapes, burns, bee stings, mosquito bites. Found out last summer works really good on poison ivy, poison oak. In fact, this spring, if you find the patch, I would roll in it just so you can try it out. It takes away the itch instantly. You know what else it's good for? Ear infections. So my oldest son, who was not a Melaleuca customer, we did the typical program that you're supposed to do, right? Ear infection, go to the doctor, put him on the pink stuff. Use the whole bottle, otherwise you develop a resistance. Then 3 weeks later, ear infection again. Back for another antibiotic. Back and forth, back and forth. Final step was, guess what? Dude, that's a great program, isn't it? So my second son, he's 24. First ear infection he got, he used this, dilute it with olive oil, soak cotton balls in that solution, stick the cotton balls in the kid's ears, in the morning the ear infection's gone. Sounds crazy. In fact, if you're going to survey your friends, what would they think of you? Crazy. You're an organic farmer, right? Here's where I'm at. I don't really care what people think. I just want to know what works. For about a nickel, you can knock out a kid's ear infection. You ever had a dog with an ear infection? You know what that costs? Probably don't need to remind you, but it's hundreds, isn't it? For about a quarter, you can knock out a dog ear infection. Ear mites, different things. You know what? Half the men in the United States over the age of 50 have issues with their toes. I don't want any volunteers, but if you have issues, this gets rid of it. This little bottle of oil, when I became a customer 30 years ago, $7.99. Today, it costs $8.50. It's went up 51 cents in 30 years. I wish everything was priced that way, but you understand, because go directly to the manufacturer. It keeps our prices down. And if you're into essential oils, we have every kind of blend you can imagine. The difference is price. I know companies that sell this size bottle of Melaleuca oil for 28 bucks. Doesn't mean it ain't worth it. I'd pay 28 bucks for it, but I'd rather pay 8.50. This is the way they market. Here's a Melaleuca oil shampoo for dandruff, psoriasis, itchy scalp. If you ever have kids that come home from school with head lice, that's what you use. Speaking of shampoo, here's an article from Mayo Clinic, Department of Dermatology, on a substance called formaldehyde. First of all, when is formaldehyde good to have in your body? Never. When you're dead. What happens? Right answer. Hard to put some past somebody from Buxton, right? So what happens when you get formaldehyde in your body when you're alive? You get that, correct? So formaldehyde is in the same class of chemicals as that potato fungicide, carcinogen. A lot of inexpensive personal care products contain formaldehyde. And I'm not here to tell you tonight if you use Dawn dish detergent in your sink, you're going to get cancer. But I am here to tell you the more you're around formaldehyde, the more your chances of all cancers go up. The two big bad ones, prostate cancer in men, breast cancer in women. You know what? 30 years ago, you didn't even talk about prostate cancer. 40 years ago. I remember my neighbor's dad got prostate cancer. He whispered it to my dad because he thought prostate was a naughty word. How many people do you know that have prostate cancer, breast cancer today? Lots of people. So my recommendation is get the formaldehyde the heck out of your life. The problem is it's really difficult because if you go to the bottle of Dawn today, look at on your sink, you're not going to see the word formaldehyde. But you will see a word that's something similar or that you will recognize after I share it with you. Here's a little article I ran across. Johnson & Johnson goes public with plans to clean up products. Guess which ingredients they've had in their baby products forever? Formaldehyde. On the label, it's called cordyneum-15. It's a formaldehyde-releasing chemical. But here's the unique thing about this. I do believe that they got the formaldehyde out of their baby products in the United States, but the article also says at the bottom, the announcement does not cover the company's non-baby products, products in the Neutrogena and Aveeno lines. They're going to leave the formaldehyde in those products. That's kind of neat, isn't it? So next time when you see...
They use it as a
cheap preservative.
Yeah,
because it's cheaper than others.
preservative.
Yep. So the next time you see Jennifer Aniston on the oat shampoo, oats is the natural part of the shampoo. She's not lying. So we'll sell you sulfate-free shampoo, formaldehyde-free shampoo for $8.50 for a 12-ounce bottle. We also have personal care products. We even have things like deodorant, the aluminum. Why is aluminum potentially dangerous? Breast cancer, and the rest of you forgot, right? But difference is it's $5.50 for us, not 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever you're paying at the store. So we have a women's aluminum free, and then we have a men's line. There's also aluminum free underarm product for men. We have kids products, toothpaste, bubble bath shampoo. We even have a fluoride free toothpaste for kids. If you're in the dental industry, you might say fluoride free is craziness. What did Utah just do with their water supply? Got rid of fluoride. How many of you think in the next 20 years there will be no fluoride in any water? I'm going to guess it's very possible. Okay? So you have the option with Melaleuca, fluoride or fluoride free. Here's a product for people with pain. Anybody in the room tonight happen to have any pain? Neck ache, backache, knee ache, headache? Do you have some localized pain that we can get at?
Bad shoulder.
Bad shoulder. Can you reach it?
I can.
Okay, fantastic. What's your first name? Jan. Jan. I'll give you some of this. Rub this in your shoulder. About that much. Anybody else? Arthritic fingers? Anything that hurts? Okay, Jana, you're going to try it out?
Yep.
Okay, rub that in, Jan. And Jana, I want you to rub that into wherever the arthritis is bad in your fingers, and I want to pay attention to it, and I want you to interrupt me when the pain goes away. Can you do that? Okay. So this, oh, by the way, if it doesn't work, don't say it.
I had massage today too. She beat me up. Yeah.
So this isn't going to cure anything, but this has a whole bunch of this oil in it. Why is that important? Because this oil penetrates human skin. If you put a couple drops of this oil on the outside of your cheek, you'll be able to taste it in about 3 or 4 seconds. You don't really want to know what tea tree oil tastes like. But it'll show you the penetrating action. It'll draw this into the joint, relieve pain for 5 to 8 hours. It isn't going to cure her arthritis, but it'll get the mobility. It'll last for about 4, 5, 6 hours. So if you have sinus problems, this peppermint, it'll clear.
Yeah, I done that.
It's clear you right now.
It's just THC or whatever, right?
Correct.
But the pain goes like,
No THC and no tariffs. Here's a product for people with dry skin. How about I just pass this around and you can try some if you wish. If you don't, just pass it on.
I love that. I was gonna say that's that or
Yes,
this is.
renewers. Yeah, have you seen it before?
Can you buy them stuff?
Nope.
I've seen it. Really? When you know someone with really dry feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really dry feet, it's fantastic for it. Like dry feet, so they split open in the wintertime, that's what it's good for. You will notice if you have anybody in your life,
It's like a teeny tiny.
if you know anybody that has eczema or psoriasis, it knocks out that garbage too. And it's steroid free. That little tube is $2.50. You can get a bigger one, but that little tube will knock out eczema, psoriasis, rosacea.
I got the big one. Money back guarantee.
Yes,
Huh?
yes.
Oh,
Everything is, yep. We also have an adult dental line. How many of you ever heard that the health of your gum tissue is connected to the health of your heart? So what you want to do is kill the strep bacteria in your mouth. Yeah. So we have a couple of toothpaste. These two are fluoride free. They kill strep bacteria. If you know anybody that gets a lot of cold sores, canker sores, switch your toothpaste to one without sodium lauryl sulfate in it. These don't have it in, and there's no fluoride. It actually heals gum tissue. Have you ever been to the dentist? They take that sharp little stick and go around. How many of you love that?
Yeah.
Just had it done last
This
week.
That's blood coming out of your mouth.
You know what? It sounds crazy, but your dentist will know that you did something different if you switch your toothpaste. It'll seal up the pockets. We have bug spray. Since we don't have bugs in North Dakota, we'll skip it. But one thing that you should know is it's a tick repellent. Lyme disease is a big problem. So you want something that repels ticks. It's DEET free. We have a high-end skincare cosmetic line. I'll just probably summarize this in short order. The standards to put ingredients in skincare products in the United States are pretty weak. So Melaleuca follows European standards. So you won't see parabens, you won't see phthalates, you won't see formaldehyde, you won't see all the garbage that you see in even high-end cosmetics in the United States. Let's talk about environmental wellness. The number of chemicals inside our homes has more than doubled since 1950.
My shoulder been hurting.
Did it? The better? You're not a paid participant, Jan, are you?
I did buy her a drink before, so.
No, usually when I get it up here we catch and
Good to go?
Yeah.
Good. Good, good. Nearly 25 million Americans have asthma today. How many of you think the doubling of chemicals in your home could be connected to asthma? Maybe. Here is bleach. Last year, over 42,000 children were exposed to or poisoned by household chlorine bleach. Here is a newspaper clipping that I run across. 2-year-old dies after inhaling bleach. If you look up down here, it says Jordan died of respiratory failure caused by inhaling fumes from Clorox bleach. He didn't drink it, he didn't roll it, the lid was off. Got too many fumes. Up here it says hospitalized a month. Now I wasn't really sure why, if you inhaled too many bleach fumes, you go to the hospital. Why in a month? Somebody couldn't figure out a way to save the kid. So I went and found what's called material safety data sheet on bleach. How many know what an MSDS sheet is? Okay, they rank these chemicals on a scale of 0 to 4. 0 meaning harmless to the human body, 4 meaning most deadly. Guess which number bleach gets? 4, 5. I'm not going to read you the 3 pages. I'm going to read you a couple lines on the back page just to give you an idea. Because I like picking on bleach because it's my mom's favorite problem. How are you supposed to get boys' socks clean without bleach, right? How are you supposed to disinfect we had milk cows. How are you supposed to disinfect the dairy operation without bleach, right? And everybody associates, not everybody, a lot of people associate bleach with clean smell, don't they? Smells like bleach is clean, right? It does rot your clothes. So here's what it says on the back. This is under signs and symptoms of overexposure. Coughing, difficulty breathing, blistering of skin, and eczema. Burning sensation, vomiting, nausea, bronchial and respiratory irritation. Pulmonary edema. What's pulmonary edema? Fluid, right? Heart and lungs. Corrosion of mucous membranes, chronic damage or injury to eyes, skin, and respiratory organs. If you actually read all 3 pages, you're going to figure out there's not a part of the human body inside or out that bleach is good for. Yet if you have a daycare and you want to be licensed, what do they want you to use? Bleach. Question. If bleach is so darn bad for us, why do we use it on a daily basis in the United States? Some other countries don't.
It's cheap.
Cheap, that's a good reason. I don't know.
Well,
No, you program to think it smells
Right,
good. Yes.
clean.
It's a clean smell. And we've been programmed to think if we don't kill all the stuff, we're all going to die, right? So here's Clorox's marketing campaign from 25 years ago. Now you might ask yourself, what's he doing with the 25-year-old marketing campaign? Well, that's what we grew up with, right? It says, start your next meal with Clorox bleach. The simple solution for a healthy home. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Now they make scented bleach. This one smells like the mountains. Do you think we're going to use more or less? More. This one is new citrus one. This one's actually good for your nose. It says it on the advertising. Have you ever read the back of a bottle of bleach? Here's what it says. Danger, corrosive, sodium hypochlorite. Look that up sometime. Avoid breathing vapors. What's the first thing you smell when you go to a daycare of any size? Bleach. You know that your child is quite likely to have an asthma attack if they're using bleach in the daycare? And then on top of that, have you ever heard that there's good bacteria, bad bacteria? Save the good, kill the bad. Guess what bleach does? Kills it all, including your immune system. It puts the load on your immune system. We haven't heard about immune system in the last 5 years very much, have we? No, that's sarcasm, actually, by the way. Why am I talking about bleach? Because
A lot.
you were listening. Here's why I'm talking about bleach, because bleach is hidden in a lot of things that we use on a daily basis. See the green bottle up there on the screen? Looks just like Cascade, doesn't it? Ours is called Diamond Bright Gel. There's no bleach, no phosphates. Have you ever read the back of your automatic dish soap that you have in your house? Chan's looking at me like, are you nuts? Of course not. So here's a little packet of Finish. Heard of Finish before, right? So here's what it says. Warning, causes serious eye irritation. May cause respiratory irritation. Wear eye or face protection. How many of you ever wear goggles when you load the dishwasher?
I get them on my.
And it says use only outdoors or in a well-ventilated area. Avoid releasing to the atmosphere. Really, where do you go when you open it up? If you actually read this and stuff, you can't even use it, but we use it every single day. So you use Diamond Bright Gel, don't you? What have you noticed when you switched?
So I had these plastic plates, they're black and they're like heavy duty and I wash them. They always smell and they kind of have a white film on them, but I'm like, oh, they're clean. I started using that and they come out, they're black. Cleaner than when I brought them up. And I was like, surprised because I thought they were clean before. Yeah. So then, and you barely put any in. Like it's not as much as you normally would use and your dishes are just cleaner.
So you'll notice the white fog when like you do wash glasses like 300-400 times.
Yeah, mine don't have that.
Yeah,
They come out and you don't have to wait. They're just there.
Sounds crazy. And the best part is you can drink it. I don't recommend it. But the little pods, you've seen kids get into those things because they're pretty and they're whatever. They're totally safe. There's no phosphates, no bleach. There's dish soap for by the sink with no formaldehyde.
And it smells really good. The lemon.
You use the lemon. So they make lavender. Don't use lavender in the sink because it'll fall asleep when you're doing the dishes.
Yeah, I don't care. But the lemon actually has that clean smell without. I'll do great.
So we're not going to go over all these, but we have a whole entire cleaning line that's all non-toxic. None of our products have childproof tops. There's the bleach replacement for the laundry room. Dish soap. There's one that'll take permanent magic marker off of wood. Toilet bowl cleaner without a childproof top. Fabric softener. Just stuff.
The spot cleaner stuff works.
Have you used that? Spot remover?
So you get this little tiny thing like this, and then you put it in a big spray bottle, and one squirt, and the stain's gone. Which it was there. I just didn't.
Right. So none of our products have dangerous ingredients in. You might look at this list and go, what the heck is all that? I mean, you know what a quaternary disinfectant is? It's Lysol. I just read about phthalates on the way here today. I was in the parking lot. I wasn't trying. But phthalates is plastic. It links to heart disease. It links to kids' brains development. We got way too. Every time you turn around, everything's in a plastic container, right? A lot of shampoos all have phthalates in them. So Molucas went down the road of no phthalates, none of this stuff. You might say, well, what the heck is a paraben? You know what that is? That's a hormone disruptor. Now, I know we're strong on the women's side here, but let me just talk to the men for a second. How many of you think we need more hormone disruption in our homes? Maybe you shouldn't answer. Anyways, so it wasn't funny. I can't help it. Here's our laundry detergent. This little jug of Molucca laundry detergent does 96 loads of clothes. Sounds crazy.
One pump.
And you put it, that's right. You know, I would have forgot. But you put this little pump on top so you don't have to think.
Yep.
It's pre-measured. So it does 96 loads of clothes. The reason why you might consider using this brand, yeah, it works and it cleans and it'll compete with anything. But the real reason is the pH of the ingredients is acidic. Your skin is acidic. So if you have a household where people are really sensitive or itchy skin in the wintertime or allergic to everything, you'll love this. It comes in scented or unscented. It comes for high efficiency or regular. Just going to pass it around. This one's actually lavender. You can get mountain fresh, you can get island breeze, you can get no scent. There's several choices. It's a lot less expensive than the competition. Here is Lysol. How many of you have ever sprayed Lysol in your house? Jan.
Again.
So Lysol's parent company is a company called Monsanto. Who's ever heard of them? Probably, right? So one of the ingredients in Lysol is the same ingredient used in Agent Orange and cause gene mutation, birth defects, and cancer. It's called dioxin. What did we use Agent Orange for in the Vietnam War? Yes, here it is, the green foliage, so you can see the ground. Any human side effects to dioxin for Agent Orange? Absolutely, right? In fact, it would pass through the gene pool generation basis poison. So when I knew dioxin was in this product, I actually ran across an article in Grand Forks Herald a few years back. All American children are now born with dioxin in their blood. When we were kids, we didn't have dioxin in our blood, but today everybody has it in their system. Dioxin exposure is linked to lower IQ, withdrawn and depressed behavior, attention deficits, hyperactivity, and alteration of the immune system. If you study that for a second, I'm not here tonight to convince you that if you spray Lysol in your house, Jan, that all your kids are going to need Ritalin and your IQ is going to go down and you'll be depressed. But I am going to try to convince you that it alters your immune system. Let's say this is a toxin, because it is. If you're around toxins, what happens to your immune system? It's weak, doesn't it? Okay? When does cancer get you? When your immune system is compromised or weak, right? All I can tell you is there ain't a person alive that would spray this in their home if they thought it was connected to ADHD. Problem is, it doesn't say that on the bottle. It says on the bottle it kills 99.99% of everything. It does. There's no question. You know what the first precautionary statement is on the back of the bottle? Hazardous to humans and domestic animals. That's most of us here tonight. That's another joke that you didn't get, did you? So, you know what? I'm not here to beat you up if you're using Lysol, but you might consider a different option if you can find one. We'll show you one in a second. By the way, Jan, I'm going to ask you, how many of these do you have in your house? We're going to let you off the hook. Yes, the right answer. I figured you might. So this comes from the environmental. This comes from the Environmental Protection Agency's website. And that's the question in the middle. What's in a Glade plugin? What do you think, Jan, if you were guessing? Basic ingredients in air pressure is formaldehyde. They're thought to cause cancer and brain damage. You know, when you plug them into a house, and then you watch TV, they have commercials, and you plug in flowers roll in the outlet, the cat's smiling, it's awesome, ain't it? Next time, it's not flowers, it's formaldehyde that's coming out of the outlet. If you want plugins, we have some, they just don't have formaldehyde in it. We have all the wax melts and no lead in the wicks and the candles. And if you want to disinfect, this stuff will disinfect. This product is called Cellular Botanical. It comes in spray, liquid, or wipes. It's built on a natural herb thyme. You put thyme in the kitchen. It is an EPA-approved product, which means you can use it in designated spaces where you're required to disinfect. So you can use it in daycares, schools, nurseries, hospitals, nursing homes, gyms, kitchens, restaurants, hotels, motels, and zoos if anyone has a zoo. Here's what it kills: HIV-1, athlete's foot fungus, tuberculosis, Pseudomonas, Staphylococcus, Salmonella, E. coli, H1N1, and COVID-19. 99.99% effective. The difference is, on the MSDS sheet, it has a hazards rating 0. I don't know how it works. I'm not a chemist, but it doesn't kill your immune system. It's not an asthmatic trigger. So I'll tell you my personal story. I thought 15 years ago I was going to save the world. I thought if I did training seminars for all the daycares in Fargo, I could get all the bleach out of all the Fargo daycares. What do you think happened, Jan? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. In fact, the social services person that approves whatever daycares, she said if I wanted to, we understand we had the research that it doesn't be approved. She said I could knock on daycare doors and sell and promote my product individually. Yeah, like a 50-year-old guy's gonna be knocking on daycare doors. That's gonna work. So we didn't do that. I guess it was only.
So just curious,
Yeah,
what
sorry.
they told you to go
Sam? Yeah.
no to
Go to
like
knock on daycare doors.
the daycare kids'
Yes.
parents' doors, not the day.
No, he
she
could
said
actually go
I
to
could
the
go to the
doors,
daycares and
but he
promote my
couldn't
product.
get them to come.
Right, I wanted to invite him to all the daycare people, and she said, we've always used bleach, that's what we're going to continue to do. And I won't say her name because somebody probably knows her, but anyways. Let's talk about nutritional value of your food, then we're done. What if I was to tell you that the nutritional value of your food is slipping a little bit each and every year? Would you believe it? Probably. These are the top 5 reasons. We're not going to go through all of this, but the agriculture chemicals, you hear a lot about. Now, you know what we've heard a lot about lately? Dyes. By the way, if I failed to mention, all of our products are dye-free. None of the 40 and the yellow and all the stuff that I don't even know what all is, but ours are dye-free. Here's what doctors said because of all these reasons about nutritional value of our food. Here's what doctors said in 2002, 23 years ago. Every adult, regardless of age or health status, needs a daily multivitamin to fill the nutritional gaps in his or her diet. And that might be decent advice, but question, what do you take? How many choices do we have these days? 1,000 or 10,000? How do you even know where to start? Well, if you're taking something good, I would personally recommend keep taking it. If you don't really know, here's a place to start. Make sure that the supplement you're taking is mineral soluble and available to the human body cell. Minerals are tough for cells to absorb. Vitamins are easy. You can get sun. You get vitamin D from the sun, right? That's easy to stand out in the sun. But minerals, most disease is linked to a mineral deficiency. It's hard for your cells to absorb minerals. So we have a process called oligo-fructose complex. We're not going to get into it, but we guarantee at least 85% soluble and available. So when you take it, you'll actually feel the difference. This is Mauluka's #1 product by volume. It's a multivitamin mineral supplement, and this one is the calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, vitamin D in the right proportions. So my mom's been taking this for 29 years. It costs her 68 cents a day. I don't know if that's a lot in your world. When I became a customer 30 years ago, this was $21.99. Now it's $20.48. It actually went down a little bit because of efficiencies. Both of them together. Yep, so you pick either a men's formula, women's formula, or a prenatal. Here's what some people do. They buy them in little packets. I like the idea of packets because it's easy, you don't have to think. But the Vitality Essential is the packet that you would buy if you thought, you know what, I don't really have anything that's concerning me. I just want to have a little prevention. A multivitamin mineral supplement, cardio omega EPAs for the heart and blood flow, antioxidant, helps prevent cancer, and this is acidophilus, 10 billion bacteria count. You can buy this separate for $19.99 a month. It's really good for acid reflux. You know, anybody taking the purple pill? Boy, you want to get off that if you can. And I'm not telling you to jump off it.
Oh, Prilosec?
Yes, purple, yeah, next to the Prez. If you can get off that, you're doing yourself a lot of good. That one you can take separate, $20 a month. See lots of people get off. What a lot of people do is they take it together, like $41.99 a month. So it's like $1.50 a day, something like that. I don't know if that's a lot in your world or a little, but I like the convenience of the AM and the PM packs. Provex Plus helps get your kid off of Ritalin. Provex CD is the one my mom takes for her blood pressure. This was actually developed by the same doctor that put people on baby aspirin back in the 70s. So if you've ever had a heart attack, you get on baby aspirin. That doctor invented that product. Here's what some people do. They take these 6. Remember the first 4 that we just talked about? If you add the bottom 2, the one for blood pressure, blood sugar, and the one that lowers inflammation, you get what's called peak performance. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This product has more research than any of our other products. We will actually tell you what it will do to your blood work before you take it. Show me a company that sells supplements will tell you what it'll do to your blood work. I don't know if there's one that exists. So, but we will do that. So here's my recommendation. It's a high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, or if your blood sugar's out of whack, or A1C's out of whack, get your numbers. Take this for 90 days, get your blood work done again. Here's averages of what it will do. It'll raise your resistance to inflammation by 22%. So Americans have too much or too little inflammation. Way too much, right? So if you raise your resistance to inflammation by 22%, your inflammation goes down. It raises your good cholesterol, lowers your bad cholesterol. Have you ever tried to raise your HDL cholesterol? What would you do? You'd run around the block every single day and eat a pound of salmon and would go up 1 point in 90 days. Well, this goofy supplement that you've never heard of raises it by 9% in 90 days. And the numbers are bigger than that if you're on it for a year. But look what it does to blood sugar spikes. How many borderline diabetics are there around? A lot. So my dad is 87. He's the typical guy that don't go to the doctor. When he was in his 70s, he went to the doctor. The doctor said, broken record, cholesterol's too high, blood pressure's too high, and if you don't change your ways, you're going to get diabetes.
Stop going to the doctor.
Stop going. Fixed it. So he said, 'cause I told him he should be on this like 29 years ago. He goes, nah, I don't take pills. But when the doctor was going to put him on Lipitor and the blood pressure and the other, then he asked how this works. So he's been on this for a long, long time since he's 87. He's on no medication. Doctors think there's something wrong with him. Well, there probably is. But he doesn't necessarily need medication, right? So if your numbers are fine, get your blood work done. It's going to scare you away. Some of you, it's $81.99 a month. So it's whatever that is a day, $2.34, whatever. It's going to scare somebody away. I understand that. But you know what? I take it out of my HSA. This is what we do. This one's for high cholesterol. Anybody in the room have high cholesterol that you know of? Jan? Oh, Jan, I'm sure glad you came. So Jan goes.
Make you smile.
So Jan goes to the doctor. Doctor says cholesterol too high. You got to go home. You got to eat better. You got to exercise more. And we're going to give you a 90-day free sample of Lipitor. You want to go on Lipitor, Jan?
I am.
You are. She's actually my cousin. We've traveled together. So Jan, you got a sheet with your Lipitor. Look like this. Did you read your sheet? No. Question for everybody but Jan. How many of you think if you don't read your sheet, your side effects are less?
Yeah.
So Jan, I'm not going to read this sheet to you, but I'm going to give you the top 5. achy joints, fatigue, you're tired all the time. 3, liver damage. If these things are so darn safe, why don't you check the enzymes in your blood every 6 months? Because if you start developing liver damage, then you take you off something. Number 4, cognitive dysfunction. What's that, Jen?
Can't remember.
Here's the one that really makes me actually angry. I know we're just having a little fun, but this one actually makes me mad. This was in the local paper a couple of years ago. Heart drugs tied to diabetes. Statins raise risk of developing disease. You know by how much? 50%. Unless you're a woman, Jan. It's worse. And I don't know why it's worse, but there's a really good chance if you take a statin drug, 5, 6, 8 years, you're going to develop type 2 diabetes. It's sad. You don't even know what happened. Okay? So Jan says, hey, I'm a little concerned. So here's a product called Phytomega. It's in medical journals. Just effective at lowering cholesterol, popular statin drugs. He is without side effects. It's $24.99 a month. My mom's on it, my dad's on it, my wife takes it. Anybody that has high cholesterol, it's on the whack. Oh, this one, listen, we'll take it. What is it? It's phytosterols, comes from plants, omega-3s comes from fish, and it's got some coenzyme Q10. Protects the heart. Here's the problem. Jan goes to her doctor and says, Doctor, you know what? I'm done taking that Lipitor. You know why? Just ask me why. Because I was at the Ramada and there was a farmer from Buxton who told me that I didn't take it. Oh, no, because I don't know your doctor thing. Probably. So just so you know, we do have all the blood work studies, all the proof that you need. It's real simple. If you were, I'm not going to tell you to ever jump off your Lipitor, but if you're my mother, I told her, just try this and then we'll get your blood work done. And if you don't need your Lipitor, you're never going to take it. Anyways, you can get that Phytomega in the Heart Health Pack, Performance Pack. We got a Brain Health Pack, a Bone and Joint Pack, and we even have a Metabolic Health Pack. And if you got everything in your body that's wrecked, we got a Total Health Pack. We have all sorts of specialty products. We're not going to get into all, but one for prostate health in men, one for women going through menopause, to liquid omega-3s for kids' brain development. Organic microwave popcorn to oatmeal for breakfast to a fiber product with probiotics and prebiotics. We can't go over all this stuff, but if you're into exercise, we have whey protein, plant protein. We have a whole bunch of things. And if you have strict diet or dietary restrictions, we got a vegan approved line, a soy free line, a gluten free line, a lot of choices. We even sell things like coffee. If it's okay with you, we're going to stop on the products. We got 400, we've touched on 60, I'm going to skip the other 340. You kind of got the idea. So here's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to try our products. The problem is, you get invited to a seminar like this, you take an hour of your life, you get fed a whole bunch of information, what are you going to remember tomorrow? I remember 2 things. Lysol's poison, potatoes are bad.
I was going to say the supper was good.
The supper was good. So Molook actually has a program for brand new customers to help them along learn how to use the products. It's called Learn to Earn. Every new customer gets $100 to shop with Melaleuca in their first 5 months. So month one, you get $20 worth of free stuff just for being a customer. You know what? Good thing to try your month one is a jug of laundry detergent. By the way, if you try our laundry detergent, how long would it take you to figure out if it was any good? Once or twice? If you're a little slower, maybe 3 times. I wasn't looking at you, Jeff. You know what? Here's the deal. I don't care. You're never gonna buy it if it doesn't work. It's gotta work. I don't care what the price is, or even if they give it to you free, it's gotta work. The key is, if you notice, all of our products are consumable. You go on at the end of the month or 2 or 3. You're probably not gonna buy laundry detergent every month, but every month or 2 or 3, you're gonna buy it. Same thing with deodorant, same thing with toothpaste. So every new customer gets $20 in free stuff 5 months in a row as a new customer. And then you get a 30 to 40% or 30 to 50% discount off the regular price if you're what's called a preferred member. What's it take to be a preferred member? Pretty simple. Do 35 or more points in a month. What is a point? Well, for instance, that peak performance pack, remember I told you about that? It's 42 points. So every single month in our house, I do 42 points, so does my wife. We're at 84 points. Once in a while, we brush our teeth. Now we're at 86 points. Sometimes we watch clothes. You get the idea. When the kids were home, we did about 300-400 points a month. Now we do about 200. So it's come out of the money that we would have been spending at Walmart. $500 bill at Walmart. So we skip 6 aisles in the grocery store and we don't ever have to go to Walmart, which kind of pleases me. I mean, I used to go to Walmart in the middle of the night just for fun. I don't know what it's like in Fargo, but in Grand Forks it's kind of fun. Like at 3 a.m. Anyways, 35 points in the United States is about 70 to 80 bucks a month. Buy a few things out of our catalog on a regular basis, we'll give you a discount. How long do you got to do that? For as long as you're happy. It's not a cell phone contract, day by day. Our goal is, I'll just tell you what our goal is. We'd like to have customers for life. I'll be a customer for the rest of my life. And the person that referred me to Melaleuca will be making a little bit of commission for the rest of my life, not even their life. You can will it to your kids. So it's kind of neat because we just don't spend the money on advertising. So Melaleuca has 400 plus products, 5,000 plus product points on our website or in our catalog to choose from, which tells me it's hard to do 35 points for some people. Just means you don't like our stuff, and that's okay. You get your money back and everything's guaranteed. For as long as you are a happy customer, we even allow you to pre-select an emergency backup order. So if you ever just forget to shop with Melaleuca in a month, you can actually pick out in advance what you want to receive so you don't lose your benefits. Our backup order is vitamins and laundry soap. You also have the option, we're not going to go through all this, but we have the option, because you're a customer, you can get hormone-free, antibiotic-free hamburger steaks. It's really, really good. A lot of other benefits. We're not going to get into it, but just for being a Melaleuca customer, you get some other benefits. Our shipping is a flat rate shipping. Whether you buy $100 or $1,000, this says $10.22. It's $10.42. I don't know how to switch a slide. So it's $10.42. That's a lot, right? So whatever you buy, I'll make PowerPoint slides. So if some of them seem dated, it's because they are. $10.42, no matter what you buy. If you do 44 points in a month, so like do one of these for 42 and a toothpaste for 2 points, you get 44, then you get 1042 back in free products next month. So it's pretty simple. You get your shipping in the form of free products. This is the downside of Melaleuca. I saved it at the end because I didn't want to stress anybody out. But our membership fee is a little high. Most people don't think that's very funny. It's actually 19 bucks. Even you didn't know it was 1,900.
Yeah. I only paid 19, so I don't.
It's 19 bucks. At the end of 1 year, if you want to renew, it's 19 bucks. It's been that way for forever. So I think if you don't find $19 worth of value in your first month or two, I would get your money back and forget it. For you, it's okay. But I will tell you, if you put your big toe in the water and try a few products, I think you'll end up being very happy with them. That's what we're here to. High quality products at a reasonable price. So let's spend 2 minutes on financial wellness, and then we'll do the cash run. You probably figured out that there is a business behind this. Okay. When I was sitting in your chair 30 years ago, I would have never thought that I would have ever promoted laundry soap. Really? We're farming 4,000 acres stretched out to the max. But the problem is, when you own your own business, some years you work for free. Have you ever done that? Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? Some years you actually pay to work. And you get a little stressed out. So I looked at this from, you know what? Nothing else. I'm going to show my sister had small kids. She needs to get the leaves out of her house. I'm gonna show my mother who needs blood pressure stuff. And if I could make $500 a month to put groceries on the table, which now, by the way, would be $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
But back then, $500 a month to put groceries on the table, I figured, you know what, life would be on easy street. So I started referring a few folks. And I didn't realize it was gonna turn into something like it did. Yeah, I put some work into this, but 4 years after I started, I quit farming completely and just been promoting all over for the last 25 years. No, I do run a farm today, but I get to, not because I have to. And I don't, when it rains 7 inches, we don't get all stressed out about, oh, we're gonna lose the crop and we're gonna go broke. Because we got a little sideline coming in. All I can tell you is if there ever was a day when you come home, I mean, let me ask you a question. And it might not be anybody in this room, but how many of you at the end of the day know people that get home from work and go, man, what an awesome day. Well, what I do. Very well respected. I'm going to set my alarm and get up early tomorrow morning and go in. Because I am overpaid and underworked and I can't wait to go back in. My boss is awesome. How many of you know people like that? There's probably 1 in 10, right? The other 9 in 10 might say to themselves, you know what? Somebody help me. You know what? Somebody help me. That guy's sitting right over there. He helped me build this business. I never did a seminar for the first 4 years. He did them all for me because I was on the tractor. And he leveraged myself. I paid off my farm debts and I leveraged myself right out of the farm because of this little business that nobody's ever heard of. Here's why I'm telling you this. If you happen to know somebody that would be interested, we want to work with them. We'll do seminars. Doesn't matter where. We'll be in Sioux Falls to Minneapolis to Charlotte, North Carolina. It doesn't matter. But when those customers plug in, they're your customers. And they're your lifelong customers. You get residual income off that for the rest of your life. All you need to show it to them once. Nobody sells products. Nobody delivers products. Has some people done that with Melaleuca? Yeah, they have. But we don't have time to do that. I don't think you want to sell product out of your garage. Anyways, if you have an interest in that, we'll help you. If not, you just be a happy customer. Pull out your white ticket. We're going to do a cash drawing. Okay. Did everybody get a ticket? You got 2. You did. Okay, fantastic. We're going to give away a couple $10 bills. And if you do not win a $10 bill, Nikki will buy you a drink afterwards.
She already bought it.
Oh.
Sure.
Here is the first winner, 542-2168. Wait a second. Give her a round of applause. Next winner is last 3 digits, 175. Right over there. Give him a round of applause. Yes, sir. Next winner is last 3 digits, 171.
That's fine.
That's yours. Give her a round of applause. All right, we are pretty much done. Here's the bottom line. If you see some value in becoming a customer, we'd love for you to try the products. Process is really simple. We put your name into the system, fill out a little form, name, address, phone number, set you up with Melaleuca, and you can order direct. You set up your password, and you get a welcome email, and you can order products and whatever. It's real simple. Your products take about, how long does it take to get your products in Fargo? 3 days? 2 days?
3 to 5.
3 to 5?
Yeah. Depends on what you get.
Depends on what time of day you order. If you order before, I think 2 p.m., they go out that day. And all of that. Anyways, as a little thank you for being our customer, I know that the person that invited you tonight got one of these when they became a customer. We'll donate this to you as a little gift. Normally, you got to buy them from this guy for $16. What it is, it's a wellness guide. You can look up everything from toe fungus to head lice to high blood pressure to whatever, tell you how to use the products. If you're going to use them, you got to know how to use them. So you can take this home as your little gift and as a thank you for being our customer. So here's what I would like you to do. If you have questions, I'll come around. I'll try to answer them. If you know you definitely would like to try the products, we'll get a form in front of you. You can fill it out. We'll have you out here in a couple minutes. So thank you very much for letting me show this to you tonight.